Welcome to Ice Wolf. My name is Kokil, and tonight I am sitting under the new moon of July 14th, 2026. Tonight's question is, what does it mean to build something that genuinely works? Not just structurally, but in the deeper intuitive sense, whether we're designing a building, a practice, or our life. What does the builder need to know? The answer, it turns out, is everything. Let's begin. In the African savanna and across tropical regions, termite mounds stand 6 meters tall, built from soil, saliva, and fecal matter by insects with no individual intelligence above the most rudimentary. And yet these structures self-regulate their internal temperature within 1 degree Celsius despite external temperatures varying by 40 degrees over the course of a day. They do this through a passive ventilation system, a network of channels that routes airflow based on the differential pressure created by heat gradients within the mound. No thermostat, no engineer, no blueprint, just the collective behavior of millions of insects following simple rules, producing a building that outperforms almost anything humans have designed for passive thermal regulation. In northern rivers, beavers are building dams. The beaver is the only non-human animal that engineers entire ecosystem. A single beaver dam creates a wetland that supports hundreds of species that would not otherwise exist there. The beaver doesn't plan this. It follows the imperative to build to slow water to create the still water environment it needs to survive. And the consequence is a redesign of the local hydrology that benefits everything downstream. And in the ocean, the chambered nautilus moves through the water column by adjusting the gas content in its spiral shell, a logarithmic spiral, the same golden ratio spiral of the fern frond and the galaxy arm. The nautilus has been building this shell in exactly the same way for 500 million years. The design has not needed to change. Vastu Shastra, the Vedic science of space and design, is one of the oldest architectural traditions in the world and one of the most holistic. It begins not with dimensions or materials, but with orientation. Which direction does this space face? What is the quality of light at different times of day? What is the relationship between this building and the water table, the wind patterns, the movement of the sun across this specific piece of land? The Vastu tradition teaches that space affects consciousness, that the proportions of a room, its orientation, its relationship to natural light and air are not aesthetic choices, but functional ones. They directly influence the psychological and physiological state of the people inside. A building is not just a container, it is an environment. In the 1st century BCE, the Roman architect Vitruvius wrote De Architectura, the foundational text of Western architecture. And his description of the ideal architect is remarkable. They must know geometry, history, philosophy, medicine, music, law, and astronomy. They must understand the human body because the proportions of good architecture derive from the proportions of the body. They must understand the sky because orientation determines light. They must understand the earth because the foundation must know what it is built on. Vitruvius was, without knowing it, describing the Vedic concept of the complete knower, the one who doesn't specialize so narrowly that they lose the whole, the one who understands that every detail is a doorway into the whole system and every system is legible in its details. This is what Itaratha means, the divine in the particular, not the grand gesture, not the sweeping vision, but the specific, the exact angle of a window, the precise depth of a foundation, the exact proportion of a column. God lives in the details, not as just as a figure of speech, but as a literal description of how reality works. The whole is present in every part. The part, if made with sufficient attention, contains the whole. We have built a world of specialists, and the gains are real. The depth of knowledge available in any single field is extraordinary. But something has also been lost, and the termite mound makes it visible. No individual termite understands the ventilation system of the mound. No single beaver knows hydrology. No nautilus understands fluid dynamics. And yet the collective, emergent result of each creature following its nature completely, not partially, not strategically, but completely, is a design of breathtaking sophistication. The non-dual principle here is that when you follow your nature completely, you automatically align with the larger system. When you fragment your attention across 100 partial commitments, you lose access to the intelligence that comes from wholeness. The termite doesn't multitask, it builds, and the mound is the consequence. Good design in any domain is the visible evidence of whole system thinking. The nautilus shell is beautiful not because someone decided to make it beautiful, but because it is completely optimized for what it needs to do. Beauty in the natural world is almost always the signature of function understood all the way through. We shift now to a deep, quiet meditation to contemplate everything that we've learned so far. If you are holding on to an expectation, a heavy idea of how things should be, or a bitter memory of what you think failed, let it go with the next breath. Drop your shoulders, soften your jaw. Let the weight of your body settle completely into the earth beneath you. Let's step into the quiet together. That's all for tonight. Look at something you're building or would love to build, a space, a practice, a relationship, or a way of thinking. Ask yourself, does this thing fulfill its purpose? Does it follow any function all the way through? Does it breathe? The next episode arrives on the full buck moon, July 29th. We go into attention, the one resource nobody is talking about protecting, but everyone is spending freely. Until then, build like the Nautilus, one chamber at a time. Happy new moon!